Sure, yeah, we'll just kind of touch on MINT Dentistry. Thanks everybody for hopping on the call. We hope you guys just get some overall information as you guys make decisions that best suit your future. With MINT Dentistry, your future definitely starts now. So I'll quickly just kind of touch on our company history. What is MINT? What our culture, visions, missions and values are. And I'll kind of talk about our CEO and our founder, and then we can kind of touch base on locations and growth and what our aim is with MINT Dentistry as far as serving the patients and the dental community and what that patient cycle looks like, and making decisions. There's so many options out there, so I just want to also highlight how MINT is different and what that office dynamic is, and then I'll kind of touch quickly on just like new employee information, what the training looks like, any benefits, and just our contact information for you guys all to have. So I'll just kind of keep going, and then afterwards I can open up any questions, and then I know there's like 4 or 5 questions we can kind of review at the end during your Q&A that we can happily answer as well. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. So, MINT Dentistry, what is MINT? In 2009, MINT really kind of came around and changed everything about dentistry. So we were definitely the first to offer luxury dentistry. We were the first to offer affordable dentistry, and just kind of take that fear that is naturally innate when it comes to dentistry. And so at MINT Dentistry, it was founded with the vision to just make dental care better while highlighting on just kind of that luxury, affordable experience that patients should have. So from 2009, we opened our first office. We now have over 40 locations in DFW. We have 20 locations in Houston. We're now serving 4 offices in the Atlanta metro area, and we plan to grow 2022. So the nice thing to always kind of keep in mind when you're evaluating your future is that growth and internal opportunities. So we're looking at Florida, we're looking at Chicago, so major cities to come. We've really built a good business model that meets the patient's needs. And we just kind of want to carry that over throughout the country and, educate patients that dental care is important, and it is linked to systemic disease and overall oral health, which is so much more important now than ever as we kind of are navigating through the pandemic. So here's Dr. Field Harrison himself. He's our founder and CEO. He's just kind of the man behind it all. He's a true pioneer of dentistry. He graduated from Baylor College of Dentistry here in Dallas, which is one of the most notorious, well-known dental schools in the country. And his mantra is, when you're offered a spot on the rocket ship, you don't ask, which seat, you just get on. And, I personally joined MINT 7 years ago, and he kind of lives by that Facebook CEO mantra. And I kind of joined 7 years ago, and man, have I kind of grown in those last 7 years. And so again, as someone who's looking for your future and what that future state looks like for you, you want to grow and you want to be at a position that's not stagnant, but where there's opportunities for you. As far as our MINT mission, it's simple as we want to make people love the dentist and not be so scared and fearful, but know that dental care is important. And if you're kind of established that dental home and you're visiting the dentist every 6 months, then it should be a pleasant experience. And then, of course, our core values are love, perfection, and generosity. We want to love what we do for each other and our patients. We want to aim for perfection because it shows that we care and we have that empathetic trait. And then, of course, generosity. You want to love what you do because that just kind of carries over to how you treat the patient. So love each other, loving your patients, love what you work. I could be the first to say that I've made lifelong friends over the last 7 years that I know will, be with me at my birthday party every year. I had over 20 people recently from work come to my wedding party. So, if you love what you do and if you love who you work with, then that kind of carries over naturally with the patients. And, perfection, we are a product. And at MINT Dentistry, it's defined as pristine condition as new. And that's what we want to aim for. No one wants an unevolved, dated peace of mind or business model as we kind of continue to evolve, whether it's, through our culture or through different methods and techniques. And so we kind of want to aim for that perfection and do the best we can. And then of course, generosity, we want to be generous to our patients and be generous for each other. And these three core values have really kind of helped us build that foundation to best serve our patients. And of course, when you look at the patient cycle, it starts with a happy patient. If we have a happy patient, then we've got a patient that's rescheduling, and then you've got kind of the marketing, which you've got the external marketing from the billboards to the radio ads, and then just kind of through internal referral, right? Like I had a great experience at my doctor appointment. So I told everyone, hey, I have a new PCP, he's the best. And that's how referrals kind of work as well. And then of course we want to take that reception and that, when they first walk in through that door, we want to make that experience a pleasant one for them. And once they kind of see the doctor and they have the treatment plan and we go over the diagnosis with them, they're kind of making that evaluated decision on, if this is my future home. So it's based on making that patient happy. And if that patient is happy, then we have a true patient cycle that'll not only benefit the business, which is kind of our job security, and it also just benefits the patient knowing that they have somewhere they can go to meet their dental needs. So with that in mind, it's like always scheduled means always happy, because it not only benefits the patient, but it mutually benefits us as we continue to see that patient and develop that long-term relationship with them. So, what kind of makes MINT different? The sexy teeth was one of our kind of recent campaigns we did a couple years ago, and typically most dental offices are a mom and pop, one doctor, you get one opinion. The facilities may or may not be up to date. You can kind of smell the dental office when you go to the dental office. And then sometimes, patients are solely responsible for understanding their own insurance and coordinating those benefits to cover treatments and cost and what have you. Sometimes they are limited to the certain treatment they want to do. So it's kind of a lot of referral based, kind of like I said, traditional paper charting, film, x-rays. And then there's just kind of no guarantee of if their dental work will succeed. Well, at MINT Dentistry, if you go into our lobbies, you feel like you're in a nice hotel boutique. We've got that warm, beautiful, inviting facilities that takes away from that fear of that wallpaper room with the stale chair and decor. We also have a team approach. So we've got a team-oriented group of doctors that can kind of give you that second opinion. So you have that peace of mind. We practice very technique-sensitive dentistry that's evolved over the last 10 years that has showed us, evidence-based research that it is successful. We have a billing team, we have a call center. So all these things will kind of prepare you for a simple first visit. And, we honestly don't bill patients for benefits, any benefit discrepancies. The insurance will do their job and they'll kind of give you an estimate of what they think they're going to cover that. And we don't hold that against the patients. We work with them, which is why we strive on affordable dentistry. And our CEO does not hold back when it comes to the latest equipment and technology. So if there's a new machine out there, our offices have them, and we get trained on them. So we can just kind of, time is money. And if the patient's coming in, we want them to have that seamless experience and that seamless visit. We don't want them there for 3 hours because they're waiting on something when we've got the equipment that can process an x-ray within 30 seconds. So just kind of keeping that in the forefront is what we do. And then of course we offer same-day treatment. No one wants to come back to the dentist every week. And if we can get the patient in and out and maximize their time, then that's what we want to do. So this is just kind of just a quick overview of what our dental offices look like. Like, again, they don't look like that stuffy standard dental practice. You do feel like you're in the boutique and you'll kind of feel that patient experience, standard of care all the way through your visit. This is kind of what other dental offices look like. I thought this image was funny where you're just kind of looking up and you see the gloves and you see the pano light of how they kind of look at x-rays versus just a nice digital image that's on a TV for you. And you've got the settings that can adjust for the patient education piece. And here are our doctors. A big myth is people are like, those aren't real doctors that are on the billboards. They are. So if you've seen these billboards out and about in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, these are doctors in our offices. So yeah, you'll definitely see these friendly faces ready to kind of take care of you. And then just kind of piggybacking off of, one of our core values of generosity, we do a lot of philanthropy. MINT Cares. We have a back to school drive every year where we partner with local organizations to donate school supplies to the homeless children in the unprivileged parts of town. And we gather these resources, and each location provides backpacks. So we've sponsored over 100 full bags of supplies. Early on when the pandemic happened, there was a lot of things happening, and our CEO saw the alarming need for meals for those facing food insecurities. And so those first kind of 6 to 8 months, every weekend, we would go out and volunteer, and we would have so many cars come and just pull up their trunk or pop their trunk open because it's COVID. So we really can communicate with each other. And we would put boxes of food and supplies that, some of them are our patients, some of them are just in the community. So it's nice to just have that give back feeling and be a part of a company that cares so much, which is kind of adds to that fulfillment. And just kind of overall things to know. If you are joined, you've got your first 90 days, and during that 90 day, it's kind of your employment initial period. So travel might be required during this time to train. We take training very seriously here. We want you to learn the MINT way. We want you to learn the right way. We want you to feel like you're prepared to succeed and not prepared for failure. So you'll be assigned to a designated, we call them mentors instead of mentors, haha, the pun there. But you'll have someone there to kind of support you and feedback off of during your first 90 days, which is really nice. But of course, just some tips for your success as a new hire is, you want to show up every day, you want to be punctual, you want to have that positive attitude, and you want to ask questions, understand the why, and we explain the why. But if there's a different way you might learn something, whether you're auditory or a visual learner, we want that feedback, because again, you took the time to make the decision to work at MINT, and now as a MINT family, we want to support you in your success. And so during those first critical 90 days, you'll get the training and you'll get the support that you need to succeed in your role. We always kind of aim to drive a culture of excellence. So, when you're engaged and you feel enabled, then you feel empowered to do your job. Empowered employees typically have that communication. They communicate their vision. They're setting those expectations. They have the resources and know who to go to for those resources. They also give constructive feedback and take that constructive feedback, which allows us to then hold the employee accountable for what the goal is, which is to kind of be able to function in your roles and responsibilities. And then we love to recognize employees. We take pride in acknowledging your first 90 days, your first year, if you achieved something, and all kind of, this touches on one of the questions you have for us after this presentation, but we definitely are big advocates and celebrate diversity in so many ways, which I'll touch on here in a second. And just kind of overall benefits, new employees are eligible for insurance after their first 90 days. We've got PPO, EPO, and HMO options. So you've got so many options to kind of choose for what best suits you and your family's health needs. Most companies don't do this, but our CEO covers about 86% of the out-of-pocket. And so the employee is then responsible for the 14% difference. So our healthcare is very affordable, which is something you want to kind of keep in mind as well. And then just kind of other variety of benefits we offer is paid time off, sick leave. We have that teledoc, which is such an amazing app, especially with COVID, and that's covered by by our CEO, Dr. Harrison, at 100%. And it's just so nice. I've used it so many times when I've had a runny nose, or I'm not feeling well and I can't get to the doctor, and COVID and that exposure, that the teledoc app has just been a game changer and a life changer. So we do offer medical. We offer company-sponsored life insurance, vision. We have our own internal dental coverage through MINT. short-term disability, long-term disability benefits that I guess that suits you and your family. We do offer 401k after 1 year of employment. And then we do have our very own MINT Cares programs to just help those staff in dire need during or after disasters or crisis or life events in which you need that support. So MINT truly does care. And then, we have different sign-on bonus options. And then just, as we grow, we have so many potential bonus earnings, and that has evolved and changed to just reward the top talent and reward you for being here, which is nice because most most employers don't really provide bonuses. They just see it as a privilege and it's not a necessity, but we definitely like to reward all our employees. So that was just kind of a quick overview of MINT Dentistry, and I'll just kind of kick it back over to you if you have any questions for us or if anyone has any questions. Jordan Morris, she is our recruiting manager and our senior recruiter, so definitely jot down her email and her phone number, and the opportunities are endless, and she'll kind of work with you on different positions, different locations, and just kind of give you overall feedback on things as well.
Great. Well, I do have a few questions for you.
Sure.
So how does your organization celebrate and advocate for diversity?
Yeah, so we definitely are a very unconscious bias approach to things. We also have a culture committee, and we randomly select people in all positions, in all departments, to be part of the culture committee. And that's time with the department heads and the execs to kind of brainstorm of what we want to do to embrace our culture. And that's just been so successful. We also have like a shout out channel that allows for employee engagement. So you'll see interactions with people that I've never met in different states and cities and positions and departments. We also do quarterly comp analysis reports, which, speaking of diversity, you want pay equity and equality. And so we're constantly looking for things to promote diversity and inclusion. And, we are such a diverse company. Even looking at this picture together, you just see just a diverse mix of people. And it's really nice because we've just become so family oriented. And like I said, I had 20 people at my wedding and they were like family. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, you have 20 close friends from work. And I was like, yes, these are my life friends. I will be with them forever. And we had a great time on the dance floor.
That's great. Many of our students are facing a challenging economy and a more competitive job search. So what tips would you give to any students that watch your spotlight?
I think the main thing is be open-minded. I feel like just in general in life, we live in such an opinionated world. So don't make decisions based on assumptions. I think you have made it this far, and I think you should give yourself credit to make a decision on if that job is best suited for you. An example I can give here is one time when I was in college, I needed to take this course, right? And I went to ratemyprofessor.com and everyone just gave this teacher horrible reviews, but I needed to take this class in order to take the next class. So I was just like, okay, so do I wait 6 months and be held back a whole semester because of this teacher? And I was like, I can't do that. That's not my career path. That's not what I want. And so I took the teacher and I was so negative about it. But she ended up being the nicest teacher, the easiest teacher. She's become my life mentor. I became her teacher assistant. And I thought back to myself like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't make a rash decision based on other people's opinions. So be open-minded and make the decision that best suits you. And then at that point, if you feel like it's a good fit or not, go with your gut. So just kind of being open-minded and to not make decisions based on all that white noise and outside noise, because we're in such a social media driven world. It's easy to just kind of read the comments and just kind of go in this deep, dark rabbit hole when, you've made it this far. You should formulate your own educated opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. What does MINT look for in potential candidates, and where can students go to see available opportunities?
Yeah, so we're constantly looking for someone who's just eager to learn, has that positive attitude, that whatever it takes attitude. We have such a strong training program that we really kind of hold your hand those first 90 days for you to succeed. And then we focus on skill enhancement over your longevity. And because there's so much growth, there's those internal opportunities. So I think just kind of that eager to learn and positive attitude is what we're kind of looking for. So we don't ask for too much, and I hope regardless of whether new hires join Mint or any other company, you have to kind of show that willingness and that eager to adapt and have that positive attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can go to our website, mintdentistry.com, and we've got the careers tab, and that'll just kind of show you a list of all the positions and all the locations. And, kind of back to being open-minded, you may not know what you want out of a role. So apply to a lot of positions and kind of make that judgment call of what best suits you. Don't just assume, well, I only want to be in this role because of this. I think you'll kind of surprise yourself on what else is out there and what you think you like versus once you're in there, you're like, oh my God, I really like this. So give yourself a chance there.
Yeah. So my final question is, do you have any recruitment events that students can attend?
So we usually do. At this time with COVID and Omicron, we don't have any scheduled events, but I do advise that you guys follow our social media, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, and that's where we kind of post events. And I think kind of waiting for things to settle down to where it's a little safer. But, in the past, we had an awesome hygiene social 2 months ago with a band and a DJ and amazing food and prizes. And it was just a fun event. And we got to dress up. And so, yeah, Mint loves events. If you join Mint, there's definitely that social aspect of it. If you like that piece where we kind of have events and parties and things on the weekend, and same with recruiting events, we just don't have any planned at the moment, but if you follow us on social media, you'll definitely see some here in the next couple months because we're brainstorming whether it's a virtual happy hour event that we're going to host or something in person. Our event planner throws the best events for us, so we're eager to get back on track once COVID settles.
Great. Well, that was all the questions that I had for you. Thank you both for joining me today.
Awesome. Yeah. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to Jordan Morris at mintdentistry.com, 469-808-0237. And like I said, our website, mintdentistry.com, is super user-friendly, easy to access and apply, and our recruiters will reach out with you and just kind of have that conversation and kind of coach you through what you really want and help you decipher positions and locations and all that fun stuff.
Great. Well, thank you both.
Awesome. Thank you.